Alright, this is Joe Bloom, going to add some color to my Tom Cruise painting. I've got, like you've seen in previous podcasts, I've got the monochromatic painting here. And what I've done already is I've created a layer that establishes some values and some colors, sort of a palette. I've created a color palette here with some of the tones that I want to do. Some peach tones, some more saturated, some less saturated. And I'm basically just going to use this for reference and for a general starting point. I might change some of the colors, but it's just going to be a starting point for the painting. So I'm going to start a new layer that I can paint right on top of the whole thing. And I'm basically just going to dive right in. So I'll start with looking at some of the colors here. I know we've got a nice saturated forehead, and I want to lighten that a little bit. Doing digital painting, I sometimes will sample some colors. I may have mentioned this before, but I'll sample some colors from a photograph. And it can be helpful, but it can also be a crutch. You don't want to fall into that trap where you end up just doing too many photographic elements in a painting, because then it looks like a manipulated photo. When you've got a tight deadline, it can help. When you've got some sort of effect you need to get, it could be a good, helpful tool, and you can learn from colors by doing that. But I don't recommend always doing it. But so what I'm doing is just kind of grabbing a good value for a peach, for a skin tone for him, and I'm making little deviations on it. I'm not too worried about being too realistic about this one. I think the shadows and the values will help it sell that effect. But I just want to create sort of a three-dimensional sculptural quality, and I'm not too concerned with realism. So I'm just kind of picking one feature and moving from one to the next. This character was actually used for a pitch for MTV. The animation company that I'd worked for last year, they were working on a television show that was going to go on MTV, which was going to be celebrity caricature parody. I've seen a couple shows like that since then. It seems to be a popular idea. And I've even seen, I think there's another studio that's working on a brand new version of that kind of show. It's this guy wasn't meant to be used in that sort of pitch, but when I did the drawing, I was doing it to illustrate to the animation company that I was doing some freelance for, saying you can't have one drawing to show the exaggeration on someone, because Tom Cruise from the front, he's got a fairly attractive, simple face, but from the side that nose just bulges out, and his smile is so interesting with his upper lip curling, his chin juts out. You don't see any of that from the front, and the way his head is sloped a little in the back. It's just interesting, and you don't really catch that until you get all the angles. So it's something I wanted to be sure to show them, and they liked the drawing so much that they made a model out of it. They made a 3D character, and they did some animation to it, and they showed it to the clients, and they loved it. So this guy wasn't meant to be animated, but he ended up finding that way. The other little clicking you might hear is I'm using the eyedropper tool on my Wacom tablet. I've got just a little Wacom. I think it's an Intuos 2. It's just one of their low-end ones. For a while I was thinking, man, maybe I want to get a Cintiq. They're so shiny and fun. And then I realized that, I don't know, I'm not sure yet. I need to wait and see, because right now I get a lot of work done with this, and I feel comfortable with this. So I don't know if I want to start rocking the boat, though I've heard some amazing things about those. And I'm sure I'm going to break down and get one soon. You can't avoid technology. You can only try to run with it and keep up. That's the way I see it. So this is this caricature illustration thing that I keep doing. It's really fun. I started out by doing caricatures in a theme park. I was going to college at the Cleveland Institute of Art, and I thought it was a great school for the first 2 years, but then once I got into my major, I felt like I was just getting pats on the back. I didn't want to be, complimented about my work, or I didn't want to hear the teacher tell all the students, oh, you're a nice person, you do a good job, consider this material, and let's move on. That just seemed like a brush off to me. I really wanted to be critiqued. And I had a couple of teachers that would do that. And a lot of the students, they get caught up thinking about all the artsy aspects and the creative aspects of the work. When in school, realistically, you're not there to be creative, you're there to learn fundamentals. And I recently learned about the atelier systems. I had no idea that these existed. I was really blown away when I heard about them. And I like the idea of schools that where the students are the teachers and where you work on just the basics, work on the fundamentals. That's really, really interesting to me. Because, people like Picasso, they didn't start out abstract. They learned all the basics, and they learned how to draw, and they learned how to paint, and they got good. And then they said, well, I've got this craft that I've honed in. What do I want to do with it? It's quite amazing when people can take that. But I went to the Cleveland Institute of Art for 3 years, and after I was in my major for a year, I got a summer job doing caricatures in a theme park, and I thought that was a really fun job. I didn't ever think I would do that. I was one of those kids where I like to draw so much, and I like to draw faces my whole life. But when my mom would take me around to theme parks and with my brothers, we would start, we'd walk by the caricature stand, and she would say, you could do that, Joe. I was like, yeah, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. I don't know why anyone would want to do that. And then, I tried it out in college, and I couldn't believe how much fun I had. And on top of that, not just how much fun I had, but how much I was learning.